Hello everyone, this is Snoopy here, back with another Team Fortress 2 video. Today I have for you guys another TF2 topic series video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about team strategy and just overall, strategy in gameplay. Now this is going to be going over strategy not only in Team Fortress 2, but it's also going to be going over strategy in other games. So I hope you guys enjoyed this TF2 topic series episode. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the video. Alrighty guys, let's get into this video right now. So as you know, team-based strategy is where you work together with a team to go ahead and either win or have a common goal of getting a reward. Now the reason behind this is just the fact that when you're currently playing overall when it comes down to Team Fortress 2, you have to realize that working together as a team is very critical, because, a good example of that is the fact that you have to go ahead and just constantly work together and you have to try to win. Because you can't be Rambo in team-based games. It really doesn't happen. So you have to constantly work together and hope to win and help others. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is just the fact that some players seem to, just forget the concept of team-based games. And the first thing I do want to say is, once again, when it comes down to something like Team Fortress 2, you do have multiple classes that are going to try to, do some stuff. And for right here, the good example of that is to actually go ahead and, play it just as best as you can. And I think that's just the best thing about it is with Team Fortress 2, you can go ahead and, play the best you can, but also work together with some teammates. Now, as you can tell in Team Fortress 2, a good example of a, valuable teammate is like this engineer right here. He just has a dispenser set up, and he's going to go ahead and try to help us. And then you also have other people playing different classes, which also is being a good teammate. And that's just the fact. It's really simple. It's honestly a really simple thing to talk about. Because, once again, it's just you playing with a bunch of players in a team-based game. And you can't really change too much of that. It's just the way that you actually deal with it itself. Now, I feel like in team-based games, you should try to, work out with your teams itself, because you are going to have to build up strategy. That is the main topic of this video, is you do have to build up a type of strategy, because you can't just go ahead and just be the lone wolf, just trying to constantly just win everything and just be completely alone. I feel like that's just important when it comes down to stuff like that. It's just the fact that, once again, you have to deal with strategy, and some players may not like your strategies originally in the game. It just honestly depends on the scenario and what game you're playing. But you're going to have to deal with that sometimes, because once again, every now and then you do deal with different players. And I feel like that's something that is really important when it comes down to it, is the fact that you do have to deal with different players. And once again, some people may not agree with your strategy, which I feel like is really important. But at the same time, it's, it's really not when it comes down to certain things as well. Just the fact that, you just have to constantly work out with your team. Just, just get the game plan right and just try to focus. Because I know that some people, when it comes down to getting a game plan and working as a team, it can be a bit of a struggle, because you have to realize that some teammates, depending on what game you get, they're completely random. So you might not be able to work out with them, They might not be able to completely understand what you're doing, or they may just be a troll and just is trying to, mess with you. So you can't really work that stuff out with them. But anyways, that's just one thing about team strategy. Another thing is if you know the players in the team is, once again, some players, they may be a bit different when it comes down to different scenarios. For example, some players may be good as a certain class in Team Fortress 2, or some people may be good with a certain gun in CSGO. Now, most people eventually do have to learn, and that's the whole entire thing, is learning itself is just good. But if you're having a struggle, or you are, doing different things when you're currently learning, then I feel like it's kind of good in its own perspective, just as the fact that, you can go ahead, just try to build up a strategy, because you have to realize that you have to work together and just constantly get that common goal, because you aren't going to get it yourself. As simple as it may sound, sometimes you're going to be the best team player, going to be the one that's doing the best on the team. But at the same time, you might not be the best, you might not be the absolute best on your team. But you have to realize is just actually working as a teammate is the most important thing. Sometimes it really doesn't matter if you're good or bad, because if you're a strong teammate and you do create strategies, then you can honestly win. Now, I know I've actually decided to do this topic mainly because of the fact that after playing some recent CSGO and some ranked SWTOR, I've just kind of realized, that the fact is that's kind of how it works, because, in SWTOR there's ranked 4v4s, and then when you do that, specifically, you realize that you're dealing with a bunch of different players normally, since you do, well, I do solos, but I mean, you're dealing with a bunch of different people, and they have different strategies in that game in particular because it's different classes. But it does relate to any team-based game, whether it's TF2, CSGO, or anything. Because the fact is, you do have to figure out those, weaknesses and advantages. Because if you manage to work them all out, then you can, do really well. And I feel like that's just one thing that people forget with team strategy is that you can't always be the best player. And sometimes even if you aren't the best player, just actually being a team player and just trying to help out the team might actually be the best option for you and or others. Well, now that I'm done talking about the whole entire idea of team strategy, I'm going to be talking about some, tips itself is, how to actually deal with it. The first thing I'm going to be talking about is just the fact that when you're in a team strategy game or you're trying to build a strategy, you should go ahead and just try to focus with keeping the team motivated and just, never surrender and never give up when it comes down to, dealing with teammates, whether they're toxic, trolls, or anything else. Because you have to realize that some players, whether they want to win or they want to lose or they're just being, really rude, is just actually trying to work with a teammate, just, work it out with them. That might actually work. Because once again, I mean, when it comes down to actual, if you're with a team, like a team that you already have set up, then that's really useful because of the fact that you probably already understand, their strategies and what they normally do. But if you're dealing with an actual team that doesn't do that, then that could be a bit of a different story, which, I mean, is good in itself, but at the same time you have to realize that it may not be the best, considering the fact that if you do mess up in some way, shape, or form, it can become, a complete struggle, which I feel like is something you have to go ahead and deal with. And I feel like the best advice I can give to team strategy with that is just try to stay positive no matter what happens, because that can sometimes actually win it for a team. Now, the second thing I'm actually going to be talking about is also you have to go ahead and deal with, figuring out advantages and disadvantages. And this is another thing that a lot of people forget overall, is that you do need to actually deal with that. Because if you don't deal with that itself, then, it can become a really bad problem. Because it can become a really bad habit when it comes down to the fact that, you play a game, a team strategy game, and then you run into the problem where, you're constantly playing the game, but you have some people that, are really good, or some people that's really bad, or yeah, they're completely bad, and you have to go ahead and just work out with that, yeah, that person itself. And I feel like you shouldn't try to, belittle them, kind of make them feel bad, because once again, I mean, if you're bad at the game and you want to improve, then it is useful in that perspective, but at the same time, sometimes you do get paired up with those people, and once again, I mean, in CSGO, that's a good thing, is there's ranked matchmaking, and it's a really good system when it comes down to, playing with people with other skill ranks. But in some other games, you don't actually have that because some of the ranked systems in other games are really flawed. So if you do have to deal with some people that, may be new to the game or new to a certain ranked matchmaking, or you have to deal with people that are completely, they have the whole entire idea of it, then once again, I mean, you just have to go ahead and just help them out. As much as it seems like, really stupid and a lot of people hate doing that, if you try to work it out with the player that is, struggling, then you never know. Because, I mean, sometimes some people are really good when it comes down to learning overall. But then, of course, there's some people that aren't the best at learning that kind of stuff. I would also like to say I do apologize if I continue repeating, multiple things in this video. Just the fact when it comes down to the whole entire idea of dealing with this kind of stuff, whether, it's actual, working as a team or team strategy, you have to realize that it's a completely different playing field. And when it comes down to games like that, you have to go ahead, constantly repeat things. Because when it comes down to team strategy, there's not really much you can talk about it. But you have to go ahead and just get the idea in your head of, what you actually have to do to achieve a goal. And once again, I feel like that some people just completely get the wrong idea when it comes down to that kind of stuff. Is, they kind of just, don't really deal with it. They just try to go ahead and just, keep doing what they're doing, but at the same time, they do mess up every now and then and just, get the wrong idea of what you should be doing. It's a bit confusing, I know, but team strategy, you can't really describe in words. It's just kind of the fact that, you have to work as a team and just focus on a common goal. And sometimes that gets really confused, or some people don't actually work as a team for a common goal, which is just the main problem when it comes down to it. So, yeah, that's just the whole entire idea, I feel. It's just something that you just kind of have to talk about overall. And I just feel like that's something that you should just go ahead and, deal with when it comes down to the actual game. So yeah, guys, I feel like that's going to be the end of this, TF2 topic series video. I'm once again, back from my really small break from YouTube. So kind of excuse me if my commentary is, a bit stale right now. But I do need to get back in the rhythm, and I just felt like doing a really fun TF2 topic series. It comes down to something that could be really fun. you know, it just seemed like it would be a good video in itself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this TF2 topic series video, just me talking about team strategy. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.